ETM Hotep. My name is Wajahu Meneb Eri Ma'at, and I'd like to welcome you to mdw-ntr.com. And today, we'll be going through a brief lesson on how to look up Sesh Medew Netcher words using the Ancient Egyptian Hieroglyphic Dictionary by Mark Vygus. Here are the general steps for transliteration and translation. First, determine the direction in which the signs are to be read. Second, identify each sign and obtain their value and function. Third, locate words in dictionaries to obtain meaning. And fourth, come up with a sensible translation considering the images that accompany any inscriptions. For this lesson, we're going to focus on step 3, locating words in dictionaries to obtain meaning. The dictionaries. There are many dictionaries that we can choose from, but for the purpose of this lesson, I'll mention 3 of the most popular. The first, an Egyptian Hieroglyphic Dictionary, written by E.A. Wallace Budge. Second, a concise dictionary of Middle Egyptian by Raymond Faulkner. And third, Ancient Egyptian Hieroglyphic Dictionary by Mark Vygus. And this is the dictionary that we'll utilize for the purpose of this lesson. Our first example is the Sesh Medew Netcher word Apet. The word Apet has the Gardner codes G1 for the first symbol, Q3 for the second, D46 for the third, and G39 for the last. In transliteration, in manual decodage, it would be capital A, lowercase p, lowercase d. And keep in mind, manual decodage is case sensitive. The diacritic transliteration is a diacritic 3, lowercase p, and lowercase d. And now we're going to open the Mark Vygus Dictionary to show exactly how it's done. Okay, as you can see here, I have the Mark Vygus Dictionary open up. I have it open up in Adobe Reader, and I'm using an Apple Macintosh, but Adobe Reader is also available on Windows, and both apps are similar, or if not the same. Okay, the first thing we want to do is to set up the search preferences. And to do that, you have to go up to the menu bar and click on Edit, and then look for, you'll see Find, and then you'll see Advanced Search. Click on Advanced Search, and this window should pop up, or something that looks very similar in the Windows version. And what you want to make sure that you have checked are whole words only, and then case sensitive. Put check marks in both of those blocks. Alright, and the reason for that is that the manual decodage is used for the searching in the Vygus Dictionary. In other words, he made it where you search for all the words in the case-sensitive format of manual decodage. So you want to make sure that you have that checked. Alright, now as far as our first example goes, remember our word was Apet, and the manual decodage transliteration for that was a capital A, lowercase p, and D. And this is what we type into the search bar. So we type in capital A, P, and D. And then we click search. And as you can see, we have 14 search results, and they are all listed here. And depending on your window size, you'll be able to see more information. You can actually see the word APD here for all of these results. In this first one, you see that it's part of a phrase. So the first word is capital S, D, then the second word is our word, capital A, P, and D. And you can see that it gives some more information other than the word here. So depending on the width of your search screen, more information, you may see more information than what I have here. But this is sufficient for what we have to do. Okay, so we have to keep in mind of the Gardner codes as well. And remember, the Gardner codes for our particular word were G1, Q3, D46, and G39. So knowing that will help speed things up, because once you see the search results here, you can actually look and see the Gardner codes displayed alongside it. So remember, our first sign had a Gardner's code of G1. So we know this first result is not what we're looking for. This starts off with F30. So we go down here to the second one. We see that G1 is the first Gardner code, Q3 is the second, just like how we need it, D46 is the third, just as our word, but this D54 is out of place. This is not our particular word. So we know if I would click on that, you see the result here inside the actual document. It's giving the correct transliteration, but it's a different word. We're looking at this sign here that's not included in our word, and we see the meaning is to rush forward. It's a verb, and here are the Gardner codes for that word. But in doing this, it'll put you in the ballpark. If you click on this one as I've done, it'll put you in the ballpark to actually start looking in the document for our Gardner code combination: G1, Q3, D46, and then this one is G38. It's not our particular last Gardner code, and we can see that this is the next one, G39. Now, the Vygus Dictionary is arranged according to Gardner code order. So in other words, Gardner codes are arranged in groupings, and their groups are based on the letters of the alphabet. So it's from A through Z, and then we have a category of AA. And each category contains a distinct set of signs that are associated together that can be put into a category. For example, category A has to deal with men, category B with women, category C, anthropomorphic deities. Skipping to category M is dealing with vegetation. Category N, as in Nancy, is dealing with the sky, water, and things like that. So each category has a distinct grouping of signs or symbols. So this dictionary is put in that order. So it's A through Z and then AA, which are the Gardner code categories. But we have to keep in mind that Mark Vygus, instead of the AA category of Alan Gardner, Mark Vygus chose to change AA into J. So we have A through Z, and the AA is changed to J. Okay, so let's go over that example one more time. So remember, in our first example, our Sesh Medew Netcher word was iPad, and our transliteration in manual decodage is a capital A, lowercase p, and lowercase d. And that's what we type into the search bar: capital A, P, and D. Then we click on search, and we see we have 14 instances or results. And at this point, this is where it's helpful to keep in mind your Gardner code combination for that particular word. And remember, our word, the Gardner code combination, was G1, Q3, D46, and G39. So knowing that, it helps to speed things up, because as this has 14 instances or results, some words that you look up will have much more, 50 to 70 to even 100, 150. So to speed things up, you can quickly look here and scan for your Gardner code combination or something close to it. So we know ours didn't start with F30, so this first entry can be skipped, not only because the Gardner code starts with F30, but also this iPad is within a phrase, and this is not what we're looking for. So all the rest of them are potentially the word that we're looking for. But to cross-check and to double-check, we can look at the Gardner code combination. So for the second entry, it's G1, which is what we're looking for, then Q3, which is what we're looking for, and D46 is what we're looking for. But now we see D54, and that's not included in our word. So this rules out this second entry. The third entry, it has 3 of the Gardner codes we're looking for, and this fourth one here on my screen, it's not showing. So in here I wouldn't be sure. So I can click on this one and look in the document itself. And over here we see that it's transliterated as iPad, which is what we're looking for. But visually the signs do not match, because this last sign is not G39 that we're looking for, it's actually G37. So this rules out this word here. By me clicking on this entry, it puts me in the document in the ballpark area of where we want to be, because Mark Vygus Dictionary is arranged in Gardner code order. So the order is A through Z and then AA. So by looking in G37, I know that the next one is going to be in sequential order. So here we have G38, and then we have G39. So we can see that these two signs are slightly different. They're both birds, and they're a form of duck, but they're different species of duck. This is our particular word here. And we see that the Gardner codes match: G1, Q3, D46, and G39. So now we have found our word. So then we would write down the meanings here. It would be duck or bird, and it's a noun. All right? And for our next example, we're going to use the word Nefir. The word Nefir consists of the Gardner code F35 for the first symbol, I9 for the second, and D21 for the third. The transliteration in manual decodage is a lowercase n, f, and r. And for diacritic, it's the same, lowercase n, f, and r. Alright, so we're back at the dictionary. And like the first example, we note our transliteration in manual decodage for our word, which is Nefir, and the transliteration is N, F, R, and this is what we type into the search bar. Click on search, and this gives us 101 search results. So this is a perfect example on the efficiency of keeping in mind the Gardner codes. So here we are. Our first Gardner code was F35 for the first sign. And we can see here that this first entry or first search result starts off with A19. So this rules out this entry. And also we can see that our word Nefir is included within a phrase. So it's the second word of a phrase. And that's the true for all of these here. So just visually scanning through the search results, I can see that the first 10 or 12 we can rule out. And this is the first entry where we see Nefir by itself. And on my screen, we can't see the Gardner code. So I will click on this, and it will put us inside the document. And as we can see at the bottom of the page, we'll see that this particular sign has a Gardner code of F35. So this entry is just F35 by itself. And this is not what we're looking for. We have 3 symbols to work with. So I can click on next page here, up top, to go to the next page. And we can see the next 4 entries also have F35 by itself. So we can rule these out as far as what we're looking for. And then we can scan down the page and start to look for the other Gardner codes included in our word. So we have F35 to look for, which we found. And then we have I9. So F35 I9. This particular entry is F35A1. And we know that I comes after A, so we can continue scanning down. Here's F35D. We know I comes after D, so we can continue scanning down. So if I get down to the last entry, I have F35, F35. And we know that I comes after F35, so I can actually go to the next page. Continuing to scan, we have F35, F35 combinations, so we can continue to scan down. We have F35G, 43, and we know that I comes after G. So scanning down, we see here, this is the first instance of our combination that we're looking for, which is F35, I9, and then D21. So this is the first instance where we have F35 and then I9 as the second sign. So this will actually start to narrow down our search. So we can see here, this word and the next words on the page below it are all the same Gardner code and the same set of signs. Now, so in this particular instance, we found the place in the dictionary where our word will be found. Now, for us to know which definition that we are to use, we will have to use context clues of the sentence or phrase or inscriptions that we're actually translating or reading. But for now, this is actually good enough. This is actually puts us right in the spot where we want to be in order to look up the word. We can see and note all of the different possible definitions, and then as we translate other words within the phrase or sentence, we'll know which ones that will make sense based on the context. All right, so hopefully that's understood. And there you have it. It's pretty simple. The main thing is to make sure that your search preferences are set up properly, and as you look here, make sure that you have whole words only checked and case sensitive checked. Case sensitive is very important for searching by way of manual decodage, which is what this dictionary is searchable by. All right, and the more you do it, the faster you'll get. In the beginning, it may seem long and tedious, and the cross-checking between the transliteration and the Gardner codes, it may seem like it's taking a longer time, but as you do it, it'll get a lot faster, actually. So don't get discouraged, and you'll see improvements within the first 3 to 5 times that you actually use the dictionary. All right? Okay, with that said, I want to reiterate the general steps for transliteration and translation. Remember, step 1, we have to determine the direction in which the signs are to be read. Step 2, identify each sign and obtain their value and function. Step 3, which is what we just went over, is to locate words in dictionaries to obtain meaning. And then step 4, of course, would be to come up with a sensible translation considering the images that accompany any inscriptions. Now this lesson, it assumed that you are already proficient in steps 1 and steps 2. And if you're not, please, I recommend that you pick up A Beginner's Introduction to Medew Netcher, the Ancient Egyptian Hieroglyphic System. And it's available on Amazon.com. You can search under my name, Wujau, and it should come right up. Also, it's available on mdw-ntr.com. And it's available in softback and hardback, with the hardback version only being available on mdw-ntr.com. All right? Also available are online interactive classes where we go over the book chapter by chapter, step by step, interactively, answering questions, going through the exercises, and also more additional information that's not included in the book. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this brief lesson on how to look up Sesh Medew Netcher words using the Mark Vygus Dictionary. And with that, I bid you farewell, Shem Hotep, and this has been Wujau Erdi Mat.